Hi guys, I am a holistic psychotherapist, a trauma therapist, an abuse survivor, and an empath. And I'm in private practice, and I make these videos so that I could spread awareness and education and knowledge and power so that people know that they can heal. So today we're going to talk about the empath and how to protect the empath, how to take very good care of yourself if you are an empath. And this one is super important to me because I am an empath and this is a very difficult world. I made a whole video on being an empath, and so please go look at that video on this channel early on. But I'll give you a brief synopsis. Highly sensitive people feel everything very deeply. And also we sometimes feel other people's things, which makes it very difficult to be in crowds, very difficult to, be like super social, very difficult to operate in a world where there are people around because we're always receiving sort of energy and stimulus. And it's so easy to get overstimulated. And then we get exhausted and fatigued and burned out, and we're uncomfortable. We could tend towards depression and anxiety. So it's very important to protect yourself as an empath so that you can protect your mental and emotional health. And because mind, body, heart, spirit, soul are connected, when you protect your mental and emotional health, your spiritual health and physical health, which is also connected, are also protected. I hope that made sense. So here are some ways that you can protect yourself. Oh, I also want to say this other thing. So a lot of empaths have been through trauma. A lot of empaths have been through abuse. And the reason why they have this turned up sort of superpower of sensitivity is a survival mechanism, because when we went through our trauma, we needed to figure out a way to take care of ourselves. So everything got turned up. All of our senses got turned up. We can feel when there's energy shifts. We can read micro expressions. We can read body language. I can feel when the mood changes in the room. Sometimes I'm feeling pain and I'm like, wait, whose pain is this? It's someone else's pain. It's not even my pain. So I can pick up signs, energy, vibrations from any atmosphere. And the reason why I can do that is because of the toxic, long-term, chronic abuse and trauma that I experienced. So in a way it's a superpower, but also it's a survival mechanism. And once you are living a happy, healthy life, your senses are still turned up even if there's no danger. It's called hypervigilance. The name of this is hypervigilance, when you're assessing all danger at all time because of trauma. And it's very difficult to live always assessing danger, always being hypervigilant, always feeling everything deeply. I mean, it's so difficult. And it nearly destroyed me. And what happens is, if empaths don't take care of themselves, we get fatigued, we're exhausted all the time, we get burned out, we start to have health issues, we have depression, we have anxiety, and also we end up with people who are bad for us because they understand that we're highly sensitive and empathic, which usually comes with a lot of love and a lot of generosity and not saying no and people pleasing and being like extra understanding when they do things wrong that we think, oh, they didn't mean it, but they actually did mean it. Please also see my video on the empath and the narcissist. So we basically attract bad people because they know that we're good people and they use it against us. So here's some ways to protect yourself as an empath. Have some standards, first of all. If you have someone who's around you who's negative, who's an energy vampire, or who is abusive, or who is gaslighty, or who is a user, a cheater, a liar, these people are bad for you. I would even venture to say that these people are worse for you, empath, than for other people, because we feel all of their toxicity deeply. I can feel when I'm being drained. I can stand next to someone and feel different things that inform me of who that person is. Right? That's a healed empath. I didn't always have that. But the better you get at taking care of yourself, the more you will recognize danger and energy vampires and users and abusers and manipulators. So you must have standards. And if you grew up in a place where there's like abusers and manipulators and cheaters and liars and users, in your family, like for example, a parent that's a narcissist, then it seems normal to you. So it's very difficult to have standards if you don't understand that abuser is like the thermostat that you've been set at from an early age in your childhood. So for the love of all that is holy, you must get therapy so that you can heal your trauma and change your thermostat. Also, so standards, therapy to heal your trauma. If you're standing next to someone, like let's say at a party, or someone's draining you or gossiping or, like dumping trauma on you or complaining about their life, you can literally put a shield up. This is an invisible energy shield. You just intend it. If you intended it works, the shield goes up and you can no longer feel them draining you. They can no longer drain you because you've given yourself like a wall of energy, security. Sometimes if the person is super toxic, I will make that wall like metal so they really can't get through. I also sometimes put myself in a bubble of light. I put myself like in the middle of a light orb and I'm just surrounded from every angle by light. Nothing's getting in there. And be creative. You could probably teach me something cool about what you do for your spiritual protection from energy vampires. But do something. You can't do nothing. And also, we end up taking on people's pain. Like I said before, I literally feel people's pain sometimes. I ground myself 100 times a day. What does that look like? I open up the top of my head and I imagine light flowing through the top of my head all the way through my body and going into the center of the earth so that I'm grounded. You take on less when you are grounded. So I must ground. I just ground all day long. And then I do that little light bubble and it's 2 seconds. I imagine the light going through me. I imagine myself in the light orb. Sometimes I also put up shields and I also cut cords. And what does that mean? We have energetic cords to people when we talk to them, when we love them, when we have relationships with them. I cut those all day long because it's not cutting the connection to them, you're cutting the attachment to them. And then you're not feeling their stuff and they're not feeling your stuff. Cutting cords is probably the most transformative thing that I do as an empath giving therapy. Empaths, you have to say no. You have to say no. You must take care of yourself before you take care of anyone else. Now, I know that this sounds like a cliche, but you have to fill your cup before you fill someone else's cup. It must be done. Fill your cup. Then you give from the overflow. But if you're drained in a puddle on the floor and you're still giving fumes, that's bad for you and it's bad for them because you're teaching people that I do not care about myself. I care more about taking care of you than I do myself. And guess who's attracted to those kinds of people? Abusers, manipulators, users, cheaters, liars. These people are looking for people who will completely not take care of themselves and only take care of them. Don't be that. Don't be that. They pass right over people who are not manipulatable. Another thing is you don't want to reward bad behavior. So if someone is doing something negative and you keep just giving this person who's behaving badly, you're teaching them that no matter what terrible thing they do, you're always going to be there for them. You're always going to love them. You're always going to be kind and generous. No one should be rewarding bad behavior, but an empath needs to say to themselves, it is not right what they did. And I need to take some space and time to think about how I feel about that and how we're going to move forward, if at all. Like, that's very important. If you give positive reinforcement to negative behavior, you're teaching people how to treat you negatively. I hope that makes sense because that's really important. Empaths, you must value yourself. Don't betray yourself to take care of other people. That's bad for you. And it creates these relationships that are codependent. That's like codependent enabling when someone is really horrible, but we just keep giving. It makes them act more horrible. So not only are you teaching them to treat you badly, but you're also teaching them to behave badly. and you're not going to say anything. So important, empaths, to teach people how to treat you, say no, and then have boundaries, right? Like, it's so important for empaths to take care of themselves. My empathy is so deep that if I'm on a train, sometimes I can see and feel things that happened in a person's life. So how do I deal with that if I have to be on a train every day? I put my shields up, I go in the orb, I ask my angels or guides or God or universe to please protect me from seeing things that will hurt me or cause me pain. I ask to please not take on other people's energy. I wash myself in a light bath. I stay grounded. If I have to go to a party and I know that parties are overstimulating for me and I often feel drained after them, I'll give myself a certain amount of time, like a time limit. And I won't stand in the middle of the room. I'll be in like a corner, and maybe I'll be near a window so I could feel a breeze. And I cannot do socialization 2 days in a row. My husband knows this because he's super social and an extrovert, right? He knows that if I hang out on Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna need like time alone in the woods, hugging trees, kissing my puppy. No people, because that is what I need to recharge my battery. So it's important, like, what do you need? How many days in a row can you socialize? What kind of people can you not be around? Who needs to be cleared out of your life because they're bad for you? This is all Empath Survival Guide. So important. What do I need? How do I give it to myself? What is my truth? So important. And healing your trauma, healing your history, so that you can not think that negativity is normal. I hope this was helpful. I love this topic. Ask me any questions. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Take good care of yourself, empath. You deserve it. You're a light in this world, and this world needs your light. But you cannot shine if you are being drained and draining yourself and letting other people drain you. You can't shine, and we need you to shine. So self-care and self-love is the way. Bye for now.